And we are live reacting to a Achcast video. I have no idea what we are getting into. This is a dragon pick. He is in charge of the planning. So apparently we are speaking about the scouring of the Shire, explain everything happening right now, and knowing the dragon, maybe it will be a mixture of pop culture and politics, probably most likely. I am very curious to see that video. So we will get into it because the dragon right now he is away, but he will be back shortly in not too long. So let's get into the reaction now.
Shire folks have been so comfortable for so long, they don't know what to do. These words in the scouring of the Shire really struck a note with me, and they are.
I will pause here, and I already see something. I feel like this is a Star Wars thing, maybe. Um, I don't know that uh, icon there is kind of nice. Um, Maybe the person doesn't want to show his face because a lot of channels are like that. So let's see how it goes. I remember seeing Archcast things in the past, um, but it's been a long time, so my memory is kind of fuzzy on that.
Are but a few in that chapter that rings dreadfully true in today's times. The Scouring of the Shire is the penultimate chapter of the rather famous Lord of the Rings trilogy of books, and tragically it was left out entirely from Peter Jackson's equally famous movie adapting those books.
Now I will already jump into something there. I've never read Lord of the Ring. It was just way too long for me.
All right.
I wasn't brave enough for that, and now you're there. So I will ask you now that you're back.
Yeah, I need to
What-
explain this a little bit.
What are we reacting to?
Okay. There is a thing, and I can forgive people if they do not know about the book, The Lord of the Rings. The book. There is a event that was covered only in one of the books called The Scouring of the Shire. So, Frodo and them returned to the Shire. It was left out of the films. The hobbits had been subjugated by a group of the ruffians, led by, I think it's like Sharky, or with Sharky or Shanks, something like that. Forgive me, been years. And that's Saruman the White. Do you remember Lord of the Rings?
I remember the movies. That's
So-
basically my experience because I didn't really get to read the
Okay,
thousands.
do you know
of
the guy
pages.
who was the head of Isengard? Remember
Uh,
that?
I don't.
Okay.
I just remember sword
So
fight
people, if
and
they don't
arrow
know it,
ending
so
people's
it's
lives.
Saruman the White basically
Oh,
has
the
his
magician, the wizard.
has his staff broken, and he becomes a leader of a gang, and they subjugate the Shire, and they turn it into basically change the hobbits, corrupt some of the hobbits to be evil or do bad things, and much like Tolkien's work, it all has meaning, because what's happening now with the UK, it's kind of like with the migrants coming in, changing, using the place and the resources and such. It's like kind of like the scouring of the Shire, because he explains it. But the scouring of the Shire was only in the novels. It was never put into the films. So it eventually ultimately ends with Saruman the White getting like killed by like worm tongue and some other things. And it's like, the thing is, like a lot of Tolkien's allegories of good and evil, it has where people come out and they take advantage of it, because the premise basically is the hobbits were a peaceful group of people, peaceful race, and then a bunch of foreigners come in and take their stuff and either use them. Call it a really bad immigration allegory prior to the modern era.
That's interesting. You
And
know
you,
what? Because of what you said, I'm actually interested
it's
into reading
actually,
these
you'll
books.
have to hear it the way he kind of explains it. Because there's the part is, because long story short, it's a chapter. They move into the Shire. The ruffians then take advantage of it,
Of
and,
course.
and they like starve the population and like farm out the tobacco and the stuff they're growing. It's I tell you,
Before we play, I will say this. I know why they didn't adapt it in the movies.
it would have
Because
been
the
98.
let me finish. The movies were already long enough, so of course they didn't have time to add an hour of that thing, because that's
Did
probably an hour
you
of content.
actually? Well, actually, fun part about it is, did you? Well, you saw. Well, The Hobbit is a long book too.
Yeah,
Like,
thousands and thousands of page.
like it's not as bad, but they did break up The Hobbit too. So a lot of what when you see Tolkien's work referenced, it's because he put a lot into the books. It's kind of like Frank Herbert did with Dune. Dune was used. So the Chapter House books were done by his son. The main books were done by Frank Herbert for the most part. A lot of the Chapter House books were done by the son. Like, if you ever get free time, I would tell you, get you to review Sisterhood, because Sisterhood is supposed to have another season. It's based on the rise of the Bene Gesserit, and that comes from it. But Tolkien's works all come from half of his letters, half of his stuff, and he believed in the concept of good and evil. So a lot of the films were, so some stuff was left out, some, but for the most part the Peter Jackson films were very true.
When you have like thousands and thousands of page for a
Oh yeah,
novel, usually
they're
you need a TV
abridging.
show. You cannot really do
Like,
it in
I'd
a
have to go
4 hour
back and
movie.
remember what they did. That what's the difference between the books and the movies? Like, I think he like expanded Helm's Deep, if I remember. Helm's Deep wasn't as big,
And
but
based on
like,
what I heard, the group is sticking together a lot more than the movies. Based on what I heard, because again, I didn't read it. Anyway, let's play more of the
yes.
video now.
Perhaps, had they been included, a lot of people would have realized the predicament facing our modern world a lot sooner, and we would not have been quite so comfortable. As the scouring bears a striking and profoundly terrifying resemblance to our own predicament today. Downright prophetic, in fact. And it also suggests some solutions to our problems. That, too, may
has
very
to
well
do this
be
now,
why the
because
scouring
he
of the
gets buried
Shire
in
was
the
not
algorithm.
included as well. Because back in the glory days of 2001 to 3, none of us, much like the hobbits when they left the Shire for the first time, could possibly imagine just how bad things could get. We were comfortable, and we would remain so for a very dangerously long time. And that is not at all an exaggeration, now is it? Who, after all, in 2001, could in their wildest mushroom-fueled dreams imagine that in a decade or two we would be arguing about whether or not men should be allowed to
Yeah.
use women's bathrooms?
That's happening
Specifically
in Canada as
because
well.
women are on YouTube, after all, and that too is another sign of the times, are afraid of being sexually assaulted.
Sorry for the language.
Yeah.
Yes.
By the way, here in Canada, you say that it's taboo.
Do you know the funny thing about a lot of stuff? Like, when I said I come from Arches and Sargon's side of the internet, I remember the original Gamergate, and it wasn't that we were naive to. A lot of us were just gamers, and we knew of some stuff because everyone's like, "Rah rah! Don't ignore the culture war. You're just a chud." Okay, Gamergate happened because you review movies. So around '08 and '09, there was a major writer strike.
In the middle of also the economic crisis.
Basically, you're kind of familiar. The
Yeah.
thing was, it led to the pushing out of a lot of the older writers.
It affected a lot of the TV shows and movies.
And
Smallville
then,
was affected. James Bond, Quantum of Solace was
yes, and
affected. We
there
can
was
go on and on about it.
but here's where of that writer strike really had an effect. We had a golden era in entertainment. Video games were still relatively good, even some that were the early open worlds. You still had single players. You had
You
by
had
the
diversity in gaming, to be
oh,
honest.
we had look.
We
It's
lost
one of
that
the
diversity in
it's one
gaming.
of those things of you played a game for 1 quarter or two. It wasn't like we had like if I said in 1 year at one point, Hitman, three top tier games released shortly in 1 year or a couple of months. You had to choose. Now, when I talk about the writer's strike happened, we got some of us saw it as that. But at the same time, I was also watching a lot of O'Reilly at the time, which is Fox News when it was still Fox News. Glenn Beck. I started watching Glenn Beck on CNN. And I was subtly aware of basically indoctrination of progressives, the early progressives. So most of the people were summer snowflakes and innocent children. It took
You describe most of Canadian population right now.
basically like multi, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You didn't think about most of the people in Gamergate, they go,
Snowflakes.
why does this screeching harpy want diversity? Is the game not diverse enough? No, Fallout, think of it this way. Fallout Fallout 4 when they introduced relationships. It didn't matter the sex, the character you chose. You could hit and be basically a whore to every character ever. People would think that we hate that. You could
Time
go.
changed.
You
Anyway,
could. Yeah.
let's play more of this now.
Sorry, I
It's
just want
almost
to.
enough to make me a feminist. As history has proven, too, that placing men, who often act out of
Okay, do you know why the turf joke exists?
I don't know.
Okay, why they call the UK the turf island? Just for the record, conservatives and normal people said the moment you include QIA people into the LGBT, your movement is screwed because you're going to have to take that's the QIA plus, right? I've often said, and what happened after that, the LGBT people got basically the ones that actually have the gender dysphoria, that's usually the T. They got pushed out by the QIA plus people who were the gender fluid, non-binary, etc., etc. They're like, no, this isn't gonna happen.
And it happened.
And guess what? In video games, so much so when they did the Dead Space remake, it really didn't hurt it. They had unisex bathrooms.
Wow. Anyway, let's play more.
fetishistic reasons in close proximity to actual women, well, it often has predictable consequences. And on that note as well, who in 2001 could possibly have predicted the headline, "Woman raped by a male inmate in women's prison has to refer to her attacker as she, her in..."
I didn't expect that even like 15 years ago. But I guess this is happening, folks.
It
Let's
actually
play more of
happened in
that. Let's just play more of that. But again, 15 years ago, it wasn't like that. It started, but it wasn't like that.
Thought.
yeah. No, there's a whole UK. Okay, I'll say this. There's a thing in a story in out of the UK that they were shoving men who were believing themselves to be women in prisons. It was like a big scandal in Scotland, and it was leading to a lot of essays.
You know what? The same crap happens in Canada as well, and the
Did it?
media won't touch it because they know
No, they
it's
didn't want to touch it with a
radioactive.
10-foot pole.
Yeah.
And Scott, it was in Scotland, and it turned out to be a very big scandal. And it was like, and they go, well, but they said they were this, but it's like because they were housing them to like they were putting the so-called trans what the male to females with the females, and yeah, it's oh yeah, it's you don't think this is an actual story, and I do say content advisory, but there's a lot of stuff, Gamergate and that related, like you didn't think. Like if you said to us years ago we were going to lose, yeah, you could see the signs that the people who took over Star Trek, right? They were very progressive. They screwed over Roddenberry's vision. They took over the futurism for modern deism, which really, it's like you couldn't,
Just imagine a
you
Star Trek
couldn't.
season. Just imagine a Star Trek season where they go back to like the early 2000s because this is progress. That'd be
Well,
hilarious.
that's the
But
problem with
I
Hickman
I
Trek.
I gotta say this. Time changed and
But no, that's what I was saying
it's
about the
weird.
08 09 writer strike. So by the time the next generation of shows came in, you had the millennial blood come in. And we may split hairs over this, but a lot of millennial writing wasn't good. And you're only as good. Oh, this is an
Well,
actual.
it's in the UK, my friend. The UK lost the plot in Canada
No,
as
this
well.
wasn't
We
in the
just don't know
UK.
it in Canada.
This okay. Arch will sometimes reference a story, and it's we learned a lot of stories, but like if you told people 15 or 10 years ago QIA plus, we told all the liberals, the pre-progressives, you're going to have to accept the non-binary people, people who think they're houseplants, people who are incels, things like that.
The
And
dogs, the people, the
they
dog,
took
dog
over the
union.
entire movement, and they can't even to this day they can't even identify a woman. So in the this story is in reference to a trans identifying male is in a female prison in California, essayed another female prisoner.
And because we talk about LGBTQ whatever,
Well,
I gotta say this: my wife is pregnant, and the doctor that follows her is a nutcase, and um, she was asking last time when will be the appointment so we can know the gender of our kids, so we can know if we got a boy or a girl,
mhm.
and the doctor was like, "Oh, it's too private. We don't need to know that." And when my wife told me that, I was angry. I was like, "You know what? At your next appointment, you ask her bluntly, seriously. That's our right to know if we are getting a, a daughter or a son."
Well,
And she was like, "I will try." And I told her, if it doesn't work out, you bring me with you. I will talk to that nutcase.
so here's
I
no.
want to know. That's my right. I want to know.
And now, what's funny about that is maybe it's too early to tell the sex, but you never
No,
know.
we are approaching that. Like
You'll know.
by the weeks uh thingy. it's at some point in May we will reach the point where they should be
You'll
able
know.
to know.
Because it, but there's also the thing of they don't like you'll see the weird cringe stuff. Like if you told us 10 years ago that like we but see here's the thing about being an Arches and Sargons and V's side of the internet. We were the canaries in the coal mines. We saw our hobbies invaded by the activists. Now Sargon was more of an actual liberal before he went towards a little bit of a he had a shift. But the idea is I actually saw a lot of the activism coming up. You could see the roots of the extremist. You could see the CRT, which is critical race theory, creeping in through the HR department in 2010s. Blizzard, prime example. Tell this story. It doesn't deviate too much. So V had an artist, worked at Blizzard. This was like in '08. Rogues do it from behind. Get it?
Yeah.
Rogues in WoW. Back.
And I guess now we can play more, but again, I'm kind of pissed at that doctor a lot, and she's
Yeah.
lucky I wasn't in the room when the doctor told that to my wife. I would have maybe lost my crap there, because in my books, and I will close the tangent on that.
Yeah.
Trans, I don't care. It's okay. Do as you wish as long as you're happy. But here's the thing: I don't want someone to tell my kid is this or that. I don't want outside forces to influence my kid to act a certain way, to believe a certain way.
Okay.
If my kid is trans at the end, perfect. I will support my kid, but I don't want a doctor. I don't want some freak at school telling my kid he is a trans when he is not. And I believe that there are trans people out there. They exist. But my big issue is the indoctrination and all of the people that force down the kids' throat that kind of stuff.
Well,
or all of these actors that promote that idea. And some of the kids are not necessarily trans or whatever, but they are told, oh, it's cool to be trans. It's the way. It's you got that trans friend, that other trans friend. Everyone is a trans, and then you're like, I don't want to be left out. So you're trans, you too, even if you're not. Like everyone around you tells you they are. So why should you not?
So let me finish and do it. It's a quick point. So when this person, he worked as an artist for actually Blizzard. They work in shops, basically. His girlfriend then worked in another department. She wore a shirt. She played WoW. Rogues do it from behind. Now, granted, that's backstabbing and whatever else. Now, insert other jokes. She wore that shirt as a Blizzard product. She worked in a department with men. One of her male advisors, which is like the early male feminist, told her not to wear that shirt that might be inappropriate. This was
amazing.
This was in '08. In '08, '09.
When progress goes too far. Anyway, let's play more of that,
yes.
because it's a quite long video and we have limited time, so let's get into it.
When we left the Shire, you and I and everybody watching in the 2000s, the world was a very different place.
That's
so strange and distant does it seem to us now that it has taken on an almost mythical aspect, as if we can't quite truly believe that a time existed when our greatest worry was deciding which brand new, amazing video game to play next. Maybe some Baldur's Gate 2, or Majora's Mask. What about Jet Set Radio, or Deus Ex, or Hitman, or Sacrifice, or Diablo 2? Hell, it is all just too much in the span of a...
The original Splinter Cell. And then eventually they talked about having a trans Sarah or some crap like that. Or a open world Splinter Cell. Hilarious. Times changed.
Single year. Let's just settle down with that new and chill game, The Sims. All whilst The Sopranos was on television.
Yes.
Or if you want some humor, you could switch on Malcolm in the...
Or there was Smallville as well that had a lot of very interesting ideas. They had progressive ideas, but they also had some of the conservative idea at some point really early in the show, like theme of family and nurture versus nature. And um, we had rich entertainment way back then in the early 2000s.
The middle. And the next year, this cool World War II show called Band of Brothers.
That's actually good,
coming
Multi,
out.
and I recommend you watch
God
that.
can keep the land of milk and honey. I want to go back to the 2000s when entertainment.
Me too. And remember, we had The Matrix when they used to do good movies, and then the fourth one happened. And I want to pretend I haven't seen the fourth one.
I want to actually.
Was-
you can say it's.
I like the first three, all of them, and I will have the hot take. The third one is my favorite, but the fourth one is a abomination. That was just
Well,
a
no
cash
one
grab.
disagrees with that. That's after both Wachowski brothers came out as trans and transitioned. Then they tried to bastardize their work and they say it was a trans allegory. But no, the early 2000s, like
Wait, is the world waking up to what's going on? There is a trans teacher in Georgia that was just announced for next school year. Well, parents are moving out the district. Us. The ending, I'm not quite sure I understood. So they are moving out because of that teacher.
So here's the thing.
Interesting.
Here's what's funny. I saw a video on
The world is healing, folks.
Actually, I saw a video. It was on it. So what happened with the progressive movement? So progressive ideology is very different than conservative and liberal. It basically moves both, and it's very different than independent and libertarians. It's like you can be tolerant. There's a whole thing on it. They basically pushed it. Like there was something someone showed at a college professor dressed. It looks like a man with a beard, with a lot of caked on makeup, looking like a woman teaching students. And there's like, and you would think this is AI, but this was actually a college professor over a video. Yeah, no. You wouldn't think that. That's actually a real thing. You have entire school systems, if they aren't trans or anything else, they're teaching students. They want to be conservative. They teach the kids at school. There was tirades. You weren't supposed to film teachers in the classroom.
Wow, that's crazy.
There was one that these teachers would say, so they conduct an exercise. So who in the class likes Donald Trump? And some of these would actually isolate that student, make that student feel like shit. And it sounds like it's made up. Some of these people
I thought the world was healing. I was asking, is the world healing? But I just heard that story, and I feel like
they're still in the education system.
I still feel like it gives me vibes from
Here's the thing.
Let me finish. It gives me vibes from the conditioning centers in China. It's disgusting. You need to change your mind because you need to be a progressive. Again, this is why I don't trust the public system school, and that's why when I will have my kids, and I made it clear with my wife, and she agrees because she is further right than me, that I will be taking care of the education of the kid. There's no daycare because I work night shift, and she will be home by night, and I will be home by day, so we will always have someone with the kid, and I will homeschool my kid. I was wondering, was the world healing? I heard stories telling me, yes, the world is healing, but there are parts of the world that may never be healed again. And these parts, I think it's the education system and some of the justice system wings. As long as we got these boomers that are freaking progressive, eventually they will die out, and we will only have some Gen X and millennials that will keep pushing that idea. But like, I think once the boomer will vanish, that very progressive swing may die out with them.
I think you're gonna have a minor. So even if after the DEI era has been done, we're winning. See, we won the culture war in reality, but we lost Star Trek, Star Wars,
At the
Star
cost
Trek.
of so much things.
Basically, so much they burned themselves out in 10 years. I'm like, so I'm black pilled. You can't even call me a chud anymore. Like, you're, it's like they call you stuff, you're phobe, is, and you're like, well, because
And you're lucky because you're like in the USA, yeah, my guy.
so here's
Imagine
the
in
thing, like
Canada
what I
or the
was saying about the
UK's.
teachers. We're still in a system because what happened to a lot of businesses, they started not hiring for meritocracy. A lot of these studios and a lot of this culture hired for ideology. That's why when you ever go to a Starbucks, they're always bleeding liberal. I had one near me. They would never hire a conservative. They appear.
That's stupid. Anyway,
It's the
let's play more of this now.
Endless. And more importantly, of a quality we can scarcely even imagine today. Hell, this year's premiere entertainment event so far wasn't even televised, as I would have dearly loved to see them
I'll
tearing down
table
that
that.
set. And I've talked about this on multiple occasions previously as well, that when modern people go back and watch all entertainment, they suddenly realize, wow, they've been missing out. And, on the topic of politics, what?
By the way, I recommend Band of Brothers to people.
Yeah, you
But
already said it.
I said this as well. He's going to get into a show called West Wing. West Wing was entirely made. It had Michael Sheen, and it was a play on the entire Bush administration. Very similar to way The Boys is meant to own the chuds. It was meant to own the neocons and Republicans, but we still watched it. We weren't offended.
Time changed.
Yes.
Politics. You mean the West Wing series? It was
There we go.
pretty good as well, mind you.
Very famous.
Well, we had no reason back then to engage with politics, none whatsoever. It was a silly thing that old men worried about, and in fact, in most geekdom spaces, talk about politics and religion was practically banned.
That's interesting.
That's
So,
true.
I think the fact that more people talk about it shows that the world is healing. And
But no, I remember, like, prime example. I grew up in comic shops playing Magic, and that's where we played Pokemon and Magic. You could see a activist element. It's something I've always said about Magic the Gathering.
yeah,
It's run by Wizards of the Coast, which is the most, basically, as soon as they could, be the most openly liberal company ever, but their base that plays the game is the most normie or geek, and we don't care what you are across the table as long as you're not a douche. That's actually long. And the thing about this is the hobbies, because you'll hear the stories now about what they did to D&D. Magic players were the canaries in the coal mine. They were literally going to ship 2 planeswalkers. One's an elf and one's a human as a lesbian couple. We didn't care because it was an interesting story. Then they started doing it. And the thing about this is, but the activists who were always there, who wanted this, you could tell they were there. But if you said it, you were ostracized. But, oh, God forbid, like, there was a point, there was a shift in a culture. I had to play a kid that was like 5 years younger than me. He literally told me all but to fuck off from the other side of the table. I could not say shit.
interesting.
In a store. And it was eventually, I got banned
Moral
from that store, but...
philosophy. you utterly insane?
Yes.
Why would anyone ever engage with such incredibly boring and outdated topics? And today, my job is to talk about politics, morals, and philosophy on the internet.
We're here.
We all assume any new piece of media is going to be hot, cum-inflated sewage infested with man-eating rats, and it is considered downright and deeply laudable for a film to just be a film instead of a propaganda piece. The point I am so determined to hammer home is that by the time we return from our seemingly endless adventures in video games and television, the world we once knew was no longer there. The only remnants of it now are fading memory and a damn near universal desire to just turn back the time and return. We need.
I think what is done, and I think we should take that as a lesson that freedom is only there if we fight for it. And I don't think it's a good idea to really go back, but I don't think we can continue the way we've been acting for a few years.
It's not nostalgia. The thing is, the nostalgia trap is not what people want. The thing about the 90s, right? I grew up on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. We had outside of it, so right up till about 2008, when Obama got elected, like there was a big shift. People forget, everyone knows the Black Lives Matter rallies, the George Floyd stuff, but you didn't know of the Trayvon Martin thing. Like, basically, we had a majestic time that we had almost stamped out racism. Basically, if you didn't know, the Southern Poverty Law Center was just exposed for trying.
I think we lost racist ideas when the USA elected a black guy to be their president.
You did, but we didn't, because we were colorblind. We knew extremists for what they were. Now, the biggest downside to my generation is we learned to hate the neocons, but there was always a super far left slant. So, like, Obama came in and almost obliterated like 20 years.
You got the link, Michael, if you want to opt in. We will be there for another hour-ish, an hour and a half. We'll see how it
we'll
goes.
be good. No, because here's the
opt
thing.
in if you want.
Basically, Obama, when he started doing some of his policies, because he is a socialist-leaning Democrat, but he also is very progressive because of his thing. There's an entire thing on it. He kicked the Overton window so far over to the left. Culture in almost everything we see now, the tribalism in the U.S., the race relations went back 30, 40 years. Yes, we saw that in action. And it was an overnight. Now, most people didn't feel it for 4 years, but it was so different. Like, you would think by 2014, all the racists and phobes came back. All the think tanks. If we told people, if you ever mentioned the think tanks got involved, like, I swear to God, there's a story. And if I can find it, I have bookmarked it once and I need to find it. Tim Pool said it was around 2013, about 2012 to about 2014. Think tanks, it was a vice piece and other things. Language, the coded language you see, the influence started making its way into media. You would never know it was that insidious. Because the reason why people want nostalgia is because everything was colorblind. You could have Will and Grace on television, which was a story about a straight woman and a gay man in a friendly relationship.
And now we got a Black Snape in the Harry Potter that's coming soon. Anyway, to get back on track, propaganda is bad, and it's kind of
It's
funny. Before I play more, Canada is experiencing some North Korea crap with the propaganda. Um, it's so effective. It's crazy. Like they try to normalize the fact that now our liberal government turned off the cameras in committee and in parliament for the first time in like 50 years since we first had these cameras. So this is where democracy comes to die. Thank you, propaganda. You're a good helper on the death of democracy. Anyway, let's play more of that.
To go back. Sadly, however, bending the temporal time stream over a barrel and making it our collective prisoner is still beyond humanity's abilities. Instead, I and you have spent the last decade plus trying to fight back against a creeping fog of corruption. Actually,
I think parts of society did win that fight, but the war is not over because it continues. So let's play more of that. And now we got a Doberman joining. Welcome to the show. We react to Achcast, as you can guess, and that's a very interesting discussion we are having right now. Thank you for joining, my friend.
Anytime.
Amazing. So we will play, and if you want to interject or cut, let me know. We will
Oh,
pause.
if it's Arch, trust me,
Yeah.
I will interject a lot. And
Amazing.
he's
I like
one of my
it.
favorites, but him and I have a very contentious relationship.
Amazing. This is what we are doing here.
it depends what side you come from, because Arch's community was. I came to Arch first, then I discovered V, then I discovered Sargon.
Oh,
So-
see, that's literally the opposite. me.
If we
I've
won't
known
finish
Carl.
it,
I've known Carl for like 10
We'll have
years.
to. It's one day, but there's a cycle. It's where you came into it, but eventually it all blended in. Because I'm still one of the people who likes Uzulu. I was one of the.
Oh,
people,
I like Uzulu.
But hey, but
Who
no,
doesn't
we'll,
like Uzulu?
This is the
other
thing.
than,
I
you
don't know Ozulu.
other
Anyway,
than,
Never mind.
let-
Just
let-
we gotta
let's
let
play
him play.
Aiden's
We'll
dad.
get sidetracked too much.
Other than Aiden's dad, everyone loves Uzulu.
we are
and-
getting sidetracked.
And
Let's
and
focus. It's gonna be that. It's gonna be there's a
lasted
whole-
for longer than the War of the Ring has. But to return us to our actual topic, what does this have to do with the Lord of the Rings? A lot more than you might think. So let us now get to the scouring of the Shire.
Okay.
Wait,
Now,
pause this,
Tolkien
pause
himself
this.
claims
Buzz,
that the
okay, Buzz.
Is
There we go.
is Arch going to be a VTuber now? Has he been hanging
like
around
it.
with so many VTubers that
No, he's not gonna be. No,
just
he's
gonna
still
go
a
full
PNG.
VTuber now?
No, he's a but no, dead serious. He does this for some of his videos,
Oh, I know.
but largely he's doing the PNG thing. So he does this for certain parts, like like my icon that I use here comes
Yes.
from the gatekeeping series.
Yes,
It
I
comes
know.
from the gatekeeping
We've talked about
series. Yes. He's now using this for his talking ones. It's his
Oh, okay.
brand.
Good.
Him looking like the Starship Troopers.
Oh, I see. this.
It comes from he first used this model when he's talked about Starship Troopers and why it was relevant.
Okay, well, interesting
Now you
tangent
know.
here. Let's play more.
Keep going.
Scouring was always intended to be the end of his book. That he knew this was how things was going to wrap up long before actually getting there. Even if some of the details, like the identity of the villain, fell into place quite late on in the process. And it was very much so intended to be a final moral lesson about responsibility to wrap up the epic story. And Tolkien claimed that it was not a political commentary on post-war Britain, which may well be true, but as sure as second breakfast really should be a thing, it is a commentary on today's society, and a particularly brutal one as well. It begins with the four hobbits, Merry, Frodo, Sam, and Pippin, returning to the Shire, only to find it much transformed. They are stopped in the dead of night by a border control point, one explicitly constructed to keep hobbits from moving about uncontrolled.
Fascists.
That was exactly what came to my mind. Border control. Interesting.
Exactly the opposite of what leftists want.
Yeah.
Actually,
And you know what's funny? 15-minute cities think about that. And leftist government are the ones that promote 15-minute cities.
Oh, dude, I'm so glad.
It's
I'm so
crazy.
glad you're Canadian, and you understand that, because they want to do that in Vancouver, and in Montreal, and in Ottawa, and in Toronto. And if you actually want to work, you need a vehicle. You need to be able to go. 15 minutes. There's so much traffic. It's going to take me 15 minutes to go 40 blocks. So, what the fuck? I might as well just walk. That kind of attitude is it's gonna permeate with everyone who lives in the city.
But the leftists, they don't realize it.
No, that's because they don't own property. There's no such thing as a leftist who actually owns property, pays property taxes, goes out and actually maintains their own property.
Well, actually, I was a center left way back then.
Grows their own food in their garden or in their greenhouse, and takes care of anything. They also usually don't have children. If they do, they're probably pushing them off into a school where they don't have to deal with them. It's like the government.
You could be surprised. Pretty much all of my family is full of leftists, and they all have kids.
So... Oh, I know. We were talking about this before. A couple months ago. I know we were talking about that. It's like, it's the.
But overall, a lot of leftists don't have kids. But like, if you look at pockets in the universe, there are pockets of leftists with a bunch of kids.
Yeah, well, yeah,
even as they will learn later, the occupying force of ruffians move about unchallenged. Finding this outrageous, the four hobbits quickly subdue the guards and learn the sorry state of the Shire. A greedy hobbit, Lotho Sackville Baggins, motivated by pure avarice, had been buying up huge swaths of the Shire, some with his own money, but more again with funds funneled in by a strange foreign power. This traitor, along with a few willing collaborators, are selling out the Hobbits' homeland piece by piece, handing over control to those with ill intent. You have plentiful examples of this happening in our time as well. But that, if anything...
I called it! I didn't see the video, and I was like, okay, look at Canada, it's worst.
So
they own mines in Canada,
so much worse.
Dragon. I don't know if you know it, Dragon, but China owns mines in Canada.
No, I know of Chinese-owned property near military bases. The fun fact a lot about Tolkien's early work, the reason why we heard Sargon and Arch and them, we referenced this for years, it was because Tolkien's letters were guideposts.
They were, yes, they were.
And the scouring of the Shire, it was probably left out for the length of the film, but I've already warned him. It has the immigration allegory where they're giving away stuff. We're not to it yet.
And Tolkien hated allegories, but he was being very direct with the scouring of the Shire. He was being very direct. The orcs will invade if you don't stop them. That is.
That's like the immigrants. Now I start seeing it.
I'm sorry. Did you?
Oh wait. How many Indians have come into Canada in the last 5 years? Anyways, keep going.
Ontario is brown, but I will say one last thing. I think there's a lot of irony. China doesn't want their people to own anything, and yet they want to own a bunch of stuff on foreign land.
Do you know?
Just
do you know
saying.
how much? Do you know how much property in Vancouver is owned by Chinese nationals? It is a crazy amount. And what
But
they
their
do
people
is
cannot
that
own anything on their soil.
There's actually a law against them owning like more than one property. But what they'll do
When
is
we need
they'll
laws
go
for that,
they'll
there's
go to
something
UBC,
wrong.
and they'll hire university students, and they'll give them money. They'll pay them and let them live in these houses and on contract, so they can own the house by proxy. It's weird. So it ups the property values of everyone in Vancouver. It literally, since 2005 to now, it's doubled the property value of every house.
Amazing. Welcome
So I will
to
say
Canada,
this
folks.
before we move. Here's the thing about the scouring of the Shire. Think about it, because I swear to God, the argument before I'm going to say something, and Lucifer, Michael's going to basically, if you side with
Just say it.
orcs are black people. When Peter Jackson did the Lord of the Rings films, they were coming out. People who had already been through
I think they were Muslims. I think I think the orcs are Muslims.
Okay, no, jokes aside, multi.
I know. I think Tolkien thought the orcs were Muslims.
Oh no, there's this thing for real.
But if we look at Canada, they are Indian.
Okay,
Anyway,
no.
let's.
No,
Yeah,
here's
keep
the
going,
thing.
keep going. No, cut
We-
off.
we- we
Shut up,
spoke
Dragon.
enough.
No,
Fine.
keep going
Dragon.
with the video. Keep going with the
Dragon, I
video.
don't know if you
Fine.
realize it,
Keep going to the
Dragon.
weeds on
Now
this.
go finish
I don't know if you realize, Dragon, but like there's 27 minutes left, and we only got an hour left.
It's just the
Yeah, I
tip
know,
of the
exactly.
iceberg.
Come on, let's go.
As the traitors grow ever greedier. Already eager and willing to sell out their own homeland, they don't think twice about staffing their industrial empire with foreign manpower. Or as in the case of the Shire, importing human ruffians to bully the hobbits into work.
That's hilarious. It should be made part of force uniform. Wow. So, okay, I will create a religion where I need to be naked to respect it. Now I will tell everyone, now that's my uniform, folks.
Making
you
the
don't know
fields
about
faster and
you don't know
harder.
about the helmets.
These
You
new
don't have to wear
masters
helmets
of the
if
Shire,
you're a sea
foreigners and big men, not hobbits at all, walk about as if they own the place, robbing and
Invasion.
thieving.
But they do when they outnumber you. They
Invasion.
do.
It's an invasion. This is an act of dominance. It's
I'm
an
gonna
act of
say
dominance.
this: you guys are gonna have to. Canada's probably gonna be the first nation to fall because whites are already the minority up there.
Yeah, I know.
You're gonna have to find. I sent something.
That's why they made
We will-
handguns.
we
Never
we
mind,
will
I'll
have
have
sales
the,
illegal. That's
we-
why they made handgun sales illegal. So
we
Muslims would be able to
And
just
you get
take
the-
over.
I will say this: we will be the India of the North, and we will have class now. And now the Indian will be the ruling class, and then the
Deport
pleb
them
will
all.
be the whites.
Deport them all. Deport them all. There is no such thing as asylum into Canada. Deport them all. And
Canada
on
is
the
a
refugee,
circus.
Deport them. Deport them. And remigration. If you've been here for 10 years, send you back. Sorry.
Oh yeah, fun
Get you
fact
back.
by the way:
Oh,
Switzerland
oh.
is trying to get rid of
Our
them.
housing prices are so high because there's so much demand. Get rid of 12 million and it'll be fine. Trust me, it will be fine.
From the
and
collective.
our GDP will be
Gather.
crazy after that. Anyways, video.
Go around claiming a share of all the harvests and produce, food, beer, tobacco, etc., claiming
all
it
take
to
it
bring
home.
it all to a central storage point, where the wealth of the Shire is exported and
This is
sold
Norway.
to others outside, increasing the wallets of the traitors and feeding the avarice of their external trade partners. What little is left to the hobbits themselves is then further reduced by another group of enforcers, sharers. they collect what little is left, insisting that in these
The government
I haven't
tax you
watched
to
this.
death.
hard times caused by scarcity.
Oh, you know what also fucked over American farmers and it left a gap? Guess what it was? They were paid not to farm.
Yeah,
Wow.
well, no, okay, so there's like every 4 years there's gonna be a drought. Everyone knows it. We all do it. It's like the way the environment works, the way the oceans and stuff. Like you're gonna get a drought every 4 years. So you pay people not to grow stuff because it will destroy the crop. It will destroy the land and give you no nutrients and stuff like that. Plus, you're going to get a drought. So there is a method to the madness.
But California was using it for environmental purposes.
Oh, of course, California is the
They
worst.
were using it really
California
bad.
is the worst. It is the picture perfect, like everything you think about fraud in government spending. Look at California. You will see it every single time. Every single fucking time.
Sounds fun.
No,
I'm always wondering why California people don't stand up.
the
Anyway,
richest. It's like the fourth largest economy in the world.
they
and
don't
they
give a crap about
The
getting their
most
money stolen.
amount of governmental fraud in the world. So, if they were cutting all the fraud, they would actually be. They could be their own country. They would be more prosperous than all of the EU combined.
Wow.
Just
I'm not
California.
surprised.
Just
I'm not
California.
I'm not surprised.
It's mind blowing, but it's so much corruption. As soon as you have a huge amount of money somewhere, corrupt people will come along and want their piece of it. It's like that.
Everyone must give up what they have so it can be distributed fairly and equitably.
Socialist, folks.
I am sure it will shock you to
Government all
learn
money.
that by that they mean all of it will end up in the sharers' own pockets and warehouses. Gee. Groups of strange individuals taking from the common man, whilst claiming it's all for the good of everyone, and stating quite unequivocally that this is a good thing for them to do. Well, it might be challenging, but let us see if we can't find some sort of equivalent to that in our modern
we used
day.
to hang
So
horse
this person
thieves.
crossed the United States from the border
Used
and
to
was able
hang
to
them.
identify herself however she would
Just
like. And then with the United States tax dollars, she was able to begin the transition phase from man to woman.
How's your day going? We are here because trans people need a place in the world. We are here because we have rights, okay?
Where are you guys from?
Venezuela.
So did you do all this here in the United States?
Yes.
And did the government pay for you to transition?
If you wanna go to doctor, speak with them about whatever you want make in your body, in your face, breasts, implants, and other tips to plastic surgery.
And the government will pay for it?
Is for me the only country that the government pay for a plastic surgery. In Venezuela,
Canada
for
does.
example,
Oh,
the
wow.
government don't pay absolutely nothing for you.
We have one for asylum thing. So here people can get free HIV testing?
This is funny.
And if they're young, between ages of 13 to 34, and part of the trans community and a person of color, they also get a $25 gift card.
And here at the parade, you can receive all sorts of free goodies from stands and the New York City social workers.
This is
God
the guy.
bless Nick Shirley. God bless him.
This is the guy, by the way. This is when we have said one thing I will agree with, like I think Eric debunks on, despite he's is rainbow marketing. Every June, we would tell the gay people they all have Pride Month. Rainbow capitalism.
Yep,
This is
yep.
what they do on the streets, dude.
Yes.
And
it's the best virtue signaling that you could ever do. You don't actually have to do anything. You're just going out,
yes,
standing
I'm
outside.
gay. I will gain
Yeah,
followers.
actually,
and
the
you think
Bethesda.
that you're
Yeah.
changing the world.
And by the way, guess what? Bethesda and every company has a rainbow flag on an icon, except in
Wait,
the Middle East
Bethesda,
and China.
Bethesda, Saudi Arabia has a rainbow icon.
I said
Bethesda,
everywhere.
Iran has a rainbow icon.
No, I said
Bethesda,
everywhere.
China
I said
has
Has a
Everywhere
rainbow
everywhere.
except-
icon? No, they don't.
No,
they
I
don't.
said everywhere except the Middle East and China.
And that's
Always
because
has
we want
rainbow
them to be
flags.
our
Almost like it's
neighbors and
performative,
friends.
and it's the biggest waste of time because all it does is just make these mentally ill people think that they have power.
That's hilarious.
What do you guys got going on right
So
now?
we have some extra large, we've got like super thin, we have some ripped ones, we have some flavored ones, we have like regular ones.
Oh, I'm probably an extra large. Can I get some of those ones?
Yeah, hey, take as many as you want.
Oh, thank you so much.
All for you. Why go to Walgreens?
Oh, and they also at these festivals have a bunch of fetish side gear. They'll take
Yes, they
children to
do.
these.
That's
And
disgusting.
now-
Keep it PG.
now I will say, and this is the other thing with Nick Shirley going to California, I heard this. In California, there's a person that they call it like the Nick Shirley Act, where
Yes.
they're trying to keep him and other people like him from exposing fraudulent daycares and organizations.
No, well, it's about immigrants. It's harassing immigrants is the basis of the law. That's and it's weird. Like even though Spoon hates me, Aiden and Spoon were going over the law, and we went through everything. It's all about just harassing immigrants and about stopping racism. This
Oh,
that's what it's all about. It's like you can't stop fraud because minorities will be affected. That is the basis of
Yes.
the entire law.
and by the way, and don't forget, guess what just happened this last week, and I'll cover it later. Minnesota had 20 raids on the by the FBI on daycares.
Love it.
Just happened.
We need that in Canada.
Nux actually sent me the videos from Fox News and from what's called the decoy voice. It's like, and he's like, you gotta watch this shit.
And what was it? And before we continue, here's a funny thing: is this is after, if it weren't for the ICE riots, those things would have been raided before. Here's the other thing: Elon Omar basically had the soundbite since
World War
XI. But
World War 11.
she's basically calling, if we go after Somalis for fraud, we're going to shove them into concentration camps and target.
Yes, good. Do you know what? Good. Do you know what? Good. Good. Throw them all. No. And if they are literally here to defraud and steal and commit crimes, throw them in a camp. Put them in a box. Put them in a box.
Anyway, play
Continue.
more, and I had an issue. My computer froze, so I will be leaving and coming back. So you can play
I'll
more
have
of the
play
video.
it. Yes, you're good.
Why go to Walgreens? Anything comes up, try and get free everything.
Make absolutely no mistake. This is thievery, just as bold and brazen as what the
I'm going to say this.
Good.
At 15 years old, I've seen kids, and I live in an area where there's a high school, multiple like younger. My first thing a couple of years back, I'd go sit at a Chick-fil-A, and I just work with my magic decks, right? Welcome back, Multi.
Am I the only one that doesn't see the?
Video?
Yeah.
Video's still
Yeah,
here.
you are the only one.
So here's the thing. They tell kids.
if anything. Oh,
They tell the kids at 15 that I shit you not, I was doing a magic deck. I'll just work on my decks. There was a group of 4 high school kids. They were all discussing their sexual identities. So you could tell they were band chicks. At least 2 of them were gay.
Wait,
Another
what?
one was, yes, 2 were at least gay or bi. And there was one, it was a fat asexual chick. And they were like, I'm asexual. And then there's like 2, and there's like at least 1 or 2 lesbians. And they're in high school.
Oh my god.
You think I'm kidding. And I live in a conservative area.
No, I believe you.
And I'm like, I heard this, and they're just casually discussing this. I'm like, and I've always said, they teach social shit before the ABCs.
That's
1, 2,
why
3s.
I'm not sending my kids at the public school.
See, and
Anyway,
You're-
LGBTQ plus, man, I'm all in. I'm in support of it, but I think the big issue with it is some of the actors around the movement
The
that
activists.
do really, yeah, the activists, they do more harm than good in my book.
Activists are the devil in
Okay, so
anything.
when Kira was about to graduate from high school, and she would have her friends over at my house all the time, and they would talk. There was a time where I'm totally gay. I heard. Well, while I was on the computer, I'm like, "Are you gay? You don't like men anymore?" Oh, well, I have a boyfriend. It's like, then you're not fucking gay. Then why are you saying that stuff? Do you just want to be told?
Oh God.
And all of her friends, there was like 6 of them in the living room.
That goes
They were all
back to the
watching- they were
story
all
I was
watching YouTube.
saying. That goes back to the story I was saying that kids are really easy to manipulate into adopting
Exactly.
some
And that's what I immediately said. Don't get into that.
They're
wanna
valuable.
fight
That's
boyfriend.
why I don't trust any daycare. That's why I don't trust any schools, even the private school. I'm sure there are activists there. I just don't trust other adults with my kids. As simple as that.
No,
So the ruffians in
I need to say this because when after that, all the other girls were like, "Yeah, we like girls too." It's like, I want you to kiss the girl next to you,
And they're like,
and they got grossed out, and they're like, "That's just fucking weird." Yeah,
they don't
because
realize
you're not
what they
fucking
say.
Gay. You are.
That's
They
like
don't-
the striking moment, by the
Saying
way.
it. It's like you're just using that as like a what's it called, a talisman to save you from the leftist bullshit that's going on in society right now.
No,
All you
they
have to do is
believe
just
it.
say you're gay,
Michael, they
and
believe it.
boom,
No,
you're done. Oh no, yo, I have nobody can criticize me. But they learn that. They don't, and I don't think they actually understand why they're saying it.
It's just they are indoctrinated into saying it.
Yeah, and also women are stupid.
No, they are very smart, but they are
No,
they are people
They're
pleasing.
they're
They are people
retarded,
pleasing.
but
No,
they
I
understand
know. They are people
manipulation
pleasing.
tactics. It's kind of
okay,
part
that's
of what being a
topic.
woman is all about.
They are people pleasing.
When somebody's like, "I'm totally
Forced a
gay,"
far lower percentage
Hey.
of taxes on the hobbits than the Western nations' tax services impose upon us today. Here in Norway, we start at a straight income tax of
You learned about
22%,
Norway
which
taxes.
can increase to 39%
I've heard about
if you
this for
earn too
years.
much money. And God help you if you run a company, as that's an additional 22% tax
That
on
tax.
top of it. Furthermore, we have a 25% sales tax on all goods and services. We also have land tax, building tax, various fees on cars, property, etc., etc., and of course, a wealth tax. If your total assets, cars, house, etc., exceeds $200,000 or so dollars, the government charges you a flat 1% tax on your total assets as well.
Bullshit.
And much like in the Shire, I never see a dime of that ever again, as practically all of it is spent on social and health services that over.
Let me say this. Arch has lived in Norway. This is how I learned about European VAT taxes and every fucking thing else. Arch has talked about this because Arch is not poor. Arch runs
he's not.
Arch works like his family runs a manufacturing thing. They
Yeah,
have
exactly.
Norway has the population of about New York City.
Yep.
Roughly. And
Roughly.
they are taxed, and it's such a social thing. And this is what I've said about Canada. Once you start spending, like, let's say 45 cents or something like that on a dollar for social,
Okay,
that eats your
No.
budget.
no, bro, listen.
What?
I made $148,000 last year. My taxes was $87,000, and just from the taxes, and then put on the gas tax that I pay for my truck, and then you put on all the fuel tax that goes on to all of the produce that I buy.
You're the
on
minus.
the tax for every other fucking thing. It's virtually like 70%.
Yeah.
I know you think I'm joking, but
No.
when you actually work it out,
It's
70%.
Canada.
It's
Bill
almost
O'Reilly talked about
68%.
Bill O'Reilly talked about when he was working at Fox News, and this is hit at his bracket. This was years ago. He loses about 60% or 65% of his stuff in taxes.
Yeah.
Total between
Yeah.
federal and state. Just alone.
Well,
This
I mean,
was back
numbers.
when you actually work out the numbers, when you think about it and you go through all of your expenses, you want to get a machine gun and just
Oh yeah,
want to
Arch
do
wants
bad
out of
things. You do want to do bad
Norway.
things. It
Arch
is
wants out
now-
of Norway
it's
so
now.
bad. They have an exit. Arch can't leave because he would have to pay a certain level of back taxes.
Oh, I know. Yeah,
And
and
he is trapped there. He wants out.
The
he even
Doberman.
has a really nice property. I did a
Doberman.
motorcycle trip. I know the area that he lives. It is really nice. And
Doberman. Here's
motorcycle
what
trip,
here's what
gorgeous.
I suggest you. Doberman. Here's what I suggest you. So get your passport and say you're traveling, and then don't come back.
I was thinking about Paraguay. I was really thinking about Paraguay, and just sell because right now my property is worth $780,000. As soon as my dad dies, that's when I'm going to go, because he's never going to move down to South America with me. I can, and I don't care.
Okay.
My daughter right now is being such a psychopath, and she's.
Just leave her with her mom.
Yeah, she can do whatever the fuck she wants. But I want to go. I don't want to be, and all of my money right now is in investments. So if I go down to Paraguay, every dollar in Canadian is worth like fucking $3 down in Paraguay. So if I'm making
For now,
I'm making $3,000. I'm making like $1,800 or $12,000 or fucking crazy amounts where I'm not having to worry about it anymore. Like, I could retire right now if I decided to sell the house.
Overwhelmingly go to the invading ruffians. This does not seem very fair, does it? Not much like sharing at all. And many hobbits, too, raised an eyebrow at this and asked for an explanation as to why this was the way things were supposed to be. What was so equitable about this?
This is where we're going to start
Those
seeing
hobbits
the
were
allegory
swiftly
to
dragged
modern
off
day.
to the lockholes to serve as examples to others.
To the lot poles.
To make absolutely sure nobody else starts asking any silly or offensive questions. To help with the arrest rates, the new powers that be have introduced dozens of new laws and rules to the Shire, seemingly intent solely on fabricating new reasons to punish the hobbits. Hospitality has been outlawed, the size of fireplaces regulated, and movement is restricted, requiring hobbits to explain to the sheriffs where and why they are going anywhere, including criminalizing the most hobbit thing of all, eating extra food. All of these new laws and rules are enforced.
Is it for real?
Hobbits were known for being fat and eating, yes. That is all
is it
from
really
the
happening
UK.
in the UK? That
Yes.
new text. It's ridiculous.
UK
That's the
has...
thing. That's the thing that Tolkien wanted everyone to think was they had a great life.
Doberman.
You couldn't be fat if you had a
Doberman.
great
We are
life.
next. We are next. Canada is next, my friend.
I know.
By the sheriffs. Hobbits who have been either forced into service or were once proper sheriffs in the Shire that once was. Now they are trapped inside of an organization that oppresses their very own fellow hobbits.
Okay, this
What
is
a
where
surprise!
This is
Canada
Shocking. Shocking.
This is where I said I wish he followed this up with the cops when he showed the sections with the cops who enforce the rules, because the sheriffs are like the sheriffs of the Hobbit territories. I tell you that You think this is a joke. This was written years ago.
He predicted the future. It's like Orwell 1984 and all of the people that took the wrong lesson and that made so many bad laws.
Yeah.
He did hate
Agreed.
allegories. Now, if you ever seen anything on George Orwell, or George Orwell was also famous for...
I keep hearing about 1984. I want to read it.
You should read it.
You haven't
Yeah.
read 1984?
I know. I've heard so many good things about it.
Oh,
I
you
just
also-
didn't get around it.
Okay, also read Brave New World, and you will see the leftist mindset in like perfectly like put out there. Exactly what leftists want.
Brave New World is more... I'll may have to introduce him to that. But yeah, this thing about the sheriffs, right, or the sheriffs, this is actually the UK. There is literally people comparing. They compare their land, because here's the thing about early Warhammer as well, like Warhammer
How
Fantasy,
early?
where Warhammer Fantasy and Tolkien's story.
Okay.
And the reason why Arthurian myths matter, they are all based in the UK or English culture.
Oh well, okay.
Majority of them.
I won't get into that. Okay, never mind. Yep.
But you know,
Many of these sheriffs themselves are shown as hesitant, ashamed of what they have been made a party to.
oh yeah, this
But
is
they are
fun.
unable to find a way out of their situation. No doubt
Report.
internalizing all manners of excuses
Report.
for why they continue
Okay.
to enforce
I want to say,
blatantly
correct me if I'm
wrong.
wrong. Wasn't this video fake?
No,
No, it was real.
no, this is real.
I thought
This
which
is
one was it? Which one was
they
fake?
were talking about a Facebook post, right?
Well, there were several of them, but okay, there were several of them that hit the thing.
Imagine a hijab wearing
We
Muslim.
we
Coming up
we,
and
we
telling
also
you-
had that in Canada, my friend.
I know, dude. Dude.
Rules clearly designed to oppress their own.
Oh yeah, no, this is real.
And if anyone
I
still
remember
foolishly
that.
feels
Oh,
the
that
need to
was the
speak out,
greatest.
Oh, I
and
wonder
nettled
if he's
informants and snitches will report it all to the boss. And punishment, of
That
course,
was the
is
best
collective. Yet again, the echoes of our
Okay, I'm gonna say this. This particular one got really famous. So
Karen.
a 15-year-old autistic girl, she got drunk, went out in public disorderly, got brought home to the parents. They said take care of her. She got arrested when she says she looks like my lesbian
Like
nan.
my lesbian aunt.
And
Wow.
Yes, I remember that. I remember that.
Amazing.
And the best part is, she just lost her shit. You could see the rage in her eyes the moment it got said, and she had to make a huge deal about it.
Being offended by a kid, you most likely won't have a kid.
Yeah, you know what the worst thing is?
Child was
Drunk
drunk.
people usually tell the truth.
own
especially,
world are
you
hard
know what,
to miss.
kids and drunk
Deafening,
people
if anything.
tell the truth.
From disillusioned law enforcement to the crazed near religious persecution of anyone that dares question the narrative. Hell, I myself, just a week or so ago, depending on when I
This
upload this
happened.
video, was mentioned in the same breath as Jeffrey
Yes, this
Epstein
article was real.
in a Norwegian news article.
You know, I pause a lot. This article, I found it. It's in a Norwegian newspaper. They had Arch and Sargon amongst Jeffrey Epstein.
What?
Yes.
And it's an
Yeah.
actual article, and I found the article.
Wow, that's ridiculous. It's like, no.
They're going against Gamergate, too. So
Wow.
apparently, yes. This article, I remember this.
That's
was-
a low blow.
Yeah.
No accusation is too insane to try and use against one's political enemies. No smear too utterly crazy. No classification too wild or outlandish. The left wing has called so many people Nazis so often that that word simply has no meaning now, and so they're clearly reaching for a new one. Not as racist or sexist or homophobe, and a dozen other words whose only purpose was once to be used as cudgels.
Yes.
Yeah, that powder
A
video,
role in which they still honestly fulfill, as well as,
all-
I say, these words have no meaning as it relates to the internet, sure,
This
but
is all
people
the
are
UK.
being arrested for hate
is the
crimes.
UK.
Made up legislation created
This is
solely to
Australia.
enforce the
Australia's
progressive
heading this way.
orthodoxy on an ever more rebellious populace. And it needs not even be
Australia
mentioned,
is
but
heading
hate
this way.
crimes are, of course, tied, inseparably so, to the idea of liberalism itself. It is literally the criminalization of non-liberal points of view expressed.
Oh, and here's the other thing. UK is also on its journey. There is no native UK people anymore.
I'm not surprised, and
Well-
the exclusion of the other side is literally totalitarian crap. Anyway,
If you- yeah.
let's play more.
Well, okay, keep going.
In the public space. That is as good as the definition of a hate crime.
Amazing, redefining definition. Wow,
It's using the
disgusting.
policy that was meant to protect you
Against-
against your reverse. It was reverse. See, the U.S.
Reverse
has the
Uno.
it's reverse affirmative action that has been used in the U.S.
Racism by any other name is still racism.
Yet, reality simply cannot be suppressed. No matter how heavy the hand, it is simply impossible now to ignore the creaking and the cracking coming from the shattering foundations of what is increasingly obviously a fundamental failing of a far too liberal worldview. As the enforcement grows ever more strident, it grows ever more blatant, and no amount of "shut up, bigot"
I won't be surprised if some Muslim has bagged it.
This is why Kirsha brought it up so succinctly, saying they will use your liberalism against you to
And they will take over.
to subjugate you.
Actually,
They don't want you. They don't want you. They don't call you Nazis or racists because you're a Nazi racist. They call you that because they want you dead or they want you slaves. They
I need to
they
find-
want to
I need
subjugate
to-
you.
I need to find the one. I think it's a React, be a longer one though, and it'd probably blow Multi's mind.
That'd
There
be
is-
great, but only if we do it a Friday
There
or a
is
Saturday.
because here's an alliance, and I talked about this in the Islamic takeover of a lot of the West. There's an alliance between the Islamic, there's Muslims which want to integrate, and then the Islamists which go radical. They integrate socialism, liberalism, and democracy.
No, they just
And they
use
use it against us.
use leftism because
They use leftism and
as a
socialism.
cudgel, as a weapon, so they can import their beliefs. Because
No, and they did this
leftists
worse.
love Islam. They leftists
There's a
love
thing
Islam.
this is, and Glenn Beck laid this out very well and I'd be interesting, and if I can get it, laid it out. The idea is the CARE and those organizations were the ones who started after 9/11 doing the Islamophobic stuff, just so they never had to deal with stuff.
Yep.
And
And
this
I
is-
call that the Islamic takeover. Let's play more of that.
Racist is going to stop the common man from noticing things like the prisons overflowing. For the first time in Danish history,
Dane.
they don't have enough space for all of the criminals.
Free
And
world, right?
Who, pray tell, are the people
Report them.
incarcerated at such a prodigious rate? Did the Danish people collectively go insane and go on out on mass robbery sprees? Maybe the rage virus broke out or something. No. It is exactly what your racist mind thinks it is. Despite making
yeah.
up
They
14%
went
of the
from
population.
1,000
So close to the
300
moon.
rapes.
The
a year.
imported bully boys
by the way,
40,000 rapes a year.
by the way, per capita
40,000.
So here's the thing. Per capita is not accepted amongst liberal people. I did a thing covering FBI's.
Because they don't consider
like the
hypocrisy a thing.
They don't like the truth. That's what's going on.
Yeah.
Ruffians make up a third of the violent criminals.
Unless it's
And since too many people are noticing the
So in a liberal mind, it's better to have criminal in the street than to have critique to your ideology.
Or throw them in prison.
That's actually true. Very true.
solution, just like in the Shire, is collective punishment and guilt. The problem is not the huge numbers of imported violent criminals. The problem is whiteness. The problem is the conservative hobbit and his lack of a welcoming, diverse world view. The problem is that we are not liberal enough, that we all don't simply embrace the uniform, monolithic worldview required to close our eyes tightly enough.
LBC is a fucking hilarious show.
So never mind.
We're going to have to fix this with cultural shame, of course.
This is all
Again,
real.
I see these headlines. I keep thinking, are we really in a free world? Are we?
No.
This,
free
look
world,
at the
right?
years.
We've never in all of history ever been in a free world. It's if anyone ever tells you we live in a free country or free world, they're lying to you. It's always
And
been
the ruffian.
and we need to actually start acting like that instead of living in this delusion that like liberal democracy has changed the entirety of the world.
But the liberals, they voted for that government, so
Yeah,
therefore they will
liberals.
stand by it.
Because they're
Too, are not at all
brainwashed.
shy about
Because
letting
they're
the
brainwashed.
rat folk know it. They are openly racist towards the hobbits, and far above the law,
Well, see,
regularly
they're-
beating the hobbits
they
if they
don't
act
want
out,
to end
or try to
oppression.
protest
They
against
want
the
to
open
be the
theft
oppressors.
of their produce or land. They
This
put
is-
it as if they have to do this now. The hobbits are getting uppity, and if they know what's best for them, they will learn their place before a ruffian needs to remind them. Yet again, in our world, that sounds almost quaint. At least the ruffians are doing it for a reason. Greed. They are terrible people, to be sure, but they are in essence just
That Reddit that got pushed around. I'm
Yeah,
wondering
fully
if you will
punched.
vote for the liberals again.
bullies. Bullies who have found some
They
form
just
of
got punched in
weakness
the face.
that they
Animal.
themselves can now use to
Animal.
extract resources from.
Look at that. And then we
They
say
need to be put in a box. Put in a
Right.
box.
Do you remember?
crime
you
is
know-
on the rise, folks, but
Put
who
them in
cares?
a
No,
box.
do you know what actually horrified people? When the Ukrainian refugee woman was murdered on the train.
Oh yeah.
Go back and look at that video. He stands over her with a knife like an absolute savage before he stabs her. This is not.
And he said, "I got that white girl.
And
I got that white girl."
By the way, he's going to cover over that later on.
No. Do you know what's the worst part?
He's
He
getting
was-
insanity.
He was declared mentally unfit
Fucking
to stand trial.
Wow,
not joking.
amazing.
You
amazing.
check that
So-
shit.
It's going to
He
be
was
in
declared
this.
mentally
You know what?
unfit to
You know
stand
what?
trial.
My kids will be
He's
made
too
kids.
stupid to stand trial. He's going to get away with murdering a girl for
but
no
I-
reason.
I will say this: I will have mixed kids, so they will have the best of both worlds, where they can be like these white supremacists, but they are also the bullied one because they will be half black. I'm wondering how that dynamic will work out. Really, that's fascinating.
And when faced with someone willing to fight back, like the 4 hero hobbits, they quickly back down again. It's terrible.
Oh, and her
sure,
name is Irina
but it's
Zaritsky.
understandable.
She was a
Whilst
Ukrainian
for us,
refugee.
There we
the
go, hey!
economic criminals
There we go.
are the least of our worries. Sure, uncontrolled.
I want people to see this. This was actually on the train. This is a monster.
And this was just after she just got stabbed in the neck. and she was looking up at the monster that just killed. Like he killed her, and she looked up like,
No, this was a bit. She's
"What
about
did
to
I
be
do?"
stabbed.
She had no idea.
No,
Just
she's
that-
about to be stabbed. She's not.
no, dude. This was right after.
She was
This
dying
like
at that point.
Seconds out. This was like a second after he had stabbed her in the neck twice, and she looked up. I'm, dude. It was.
It's a
It's
video.
It's disgusting.
I unfortunately I've watched this video.
I've seen
Put
it.
the guy in the box and throw the key.
Controlled
I-
mass
it-
immigration
not in a
is
box.
tapping
Nope,
our
not in a
treasuries
box.
at an astonishing
Unless
rate.
the pine box.
But what is far
That
worse
gets
is the
lit on
fact
fire.
that it is becoming very difficult indeed to refute the assertions made by many on social media that monsters walk among us.
Yeah. And
Driven
he'd
not
been
by
arrested
simple
20
greed or
times.
avarice, no motivation.
No, here's what I'm going to say. This people do not understand the concept of good and evil, and I think in Bill O'Reilly,
Oh no,
says this,
no.
they
I
don't
think
understand
they
the
do.
concept of good or evil.
And they want evil to work for them. They're just like they want to direct evil. It's like nuclear power in their minds. Like, okay, if there's going to be evil out there, they might as well be working for me.
Yeah.
That's how they think. And trust me, Ilhan Omar, AOC talk about it all the time.
They know this will be the thing is he covers
But even Carney
that
talks
our
about it.
rational mind
Not
can
over this.
comprehend, but just pure, simple savagery, the likes of which
there was
nightmares
another
are made
attack
of.
on a train.
But what is even worse than the crime, or even the societal errors of tolerance that made the crime possible in the first place, is the system that protects the criminal.
These people are arrested.
DeCarlos
50
Brown
times.
was arrested 14 times.
No,
He-
23 actually.
He should have. He
23.
should have introduced the black
His-
guy
He was
who.
charged 14 times. He was arrested 23 times.
Okay, here's the thing too. There was a story of. I hate to say it, like it feels like we're picking on African Americans in America. He basically, a black man was on a train, lit a woman on fire, just poured gasoline on her.
Oh,
and
that guy. Oh, I know all about that guy too.
And just everyone had to watch. Like
68 times that person had been arrested.
judge him.
68 times. If you were arrested 68 times, you put him in a box. Pine box. I'm going with like Asmongold on this. We need to actually start going really hard on these people. We need to go El Salvador on these people. Seriously, if you are seriously mentally ill and you're a danger to the public, you're not allowed in public anymore. You're in the box.
Yeah,
Put them in the box.
I agree with that.
It doesn't make any sense to just go, oh well, you have the tools, and I'm going to quote a judge that actual justice
Officially
warrior
diagnosed
talking
and
about.
prescribed.
It's if they have the tools to make themselves better and be a good member of the public after like dozens and dozens of arrests for violent crimes.
And
No.
and I will also add this.
No.
My wife is black, and we had a discussion about racism with my grandma and my brother and my sister and my mother. And it's kind of hilarious because I did the spot on comment, as my wife said. I said, in Africa, a lot of countries are freaking more racist than here, and it's all about classes, and it's all about like you're not a true black, or the whites are the kings, and you enslaved each other way back then. And she's like, that's spot on. So again,
Actually.
we are racist by nature. I think human in general are racist by nature.
No, it's groups. Yeah,
And I will finish my
our brains are
idea.
built around the groups of people that are around us that we associate with. If you are with me, and you're part of my community, that's who I'm going to protect. Anyone outside, it's the outside versus the inside group. It has always been like that.
I will also say this again: we are racist by nature, and
Yes.
and in Africa, they are the most racist out there. Most of African countries are very, very much more racist than here.
Oh, China.
And
China
they
is the most racist country in the world.
they simply cannot really go well or get along with other people. I'm sorry, but when you're deep rooted, let me finish. When you're deep rooted in that kind of systemic racism in some countries, you bring diversity in. It's a Molotov cocktail. It will blow up in your face.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
that's what's going on.
There's one. It's channels. I think it's Michael, you may know it. It's Surfentia or
Yeah.
Surfentia.
Wilson.
He
Sorry,
basically is from South Africa.
No, yeah, he's the.
He did a video what South Africa
Wilson,
looks like. It's
Winston.
basically full of
Yeah,
reverse
Surfentia.
apartheid, and it's a ghetto. They have
Yeah.
their crops are failing now. Their
Oh,
power
dude,
grid is
okay,
failing.
so I have a neighbor that lives across the street, and he's a farmer from South Africa. He had to leave because his next door neighbors, who was like 2 acres over, they got mass murdered, and they just took their property. And what he was telling me, like they have cage doors in all of their bedrooms just to keep out like invaders because of the random like, oh, we're just going to break into your house in the middle of the night kind of shit. That's been a thing since like the 90s.
And it's not compatible with the West. I'm sorry, but
No,
it's just not.
No, it's not. No.
Like
And
I'll admit, like there are some immigrants that are great immigrants. You know, like when I think about that, and my wife is amazing. I think she integrates very well. But I still think there are ways she could improve. But again, nobody is perfect. You know, but
you will always hear when you know the person is integrated into the West, when they will say to you, "I'm so glad I got away from that. It was hell. And
yeah,
I'm so happy to be here." It's like, yes, you can see the appreciation. Oh God.
Medication which he simply refused to take.
Before you
Even
say
his
this,
own mother sought for him to be involuntarily
have you guys
hospitalized
seen,
for forced treatment. His family was so afraid of him, they sent him off to live in a homeless shelter. And when he finally did what he...
That's when you know you're fucked. It's just like that guy It's just like the guy that I'll do this later on. Like, I meant to do this earlier, but Miss Sparkles had an issue. I'm going to go over the manifesto of the guy who tried to shoot up the Correspondents' Dinner.
Oh.
I
will watch that.
That's a tangent. But again, I think humans are racist by nature, and some communities don't work well together. Anyway, let's play more because again, time flies, and we still have
been given every repeated opportunity to do so by our modern system, actually end up killing someone. The system yet again moves to protect him. As the latest at the time of recording of this video is that he has been found incompetent to stand trial, meaning the system has deemed him incapable of being legally responsible for his actions and must be sent to the social system to be cared for and restored.
He's schizophrenic.
Remember,
he's not
the
schizophrenic.
purpose of a system is what it does. That is its nature. And personally, I'm not entirely sure I want him to be restored. I'm starting to think that restoring him may actually be pure and undiluted cruelty to every innocent person he has.
I'm on board with Arch. That kind of person, it belongs in a cage and throw away the key.
And I say will, because this is a problem far larger than the actually insane. We may well entertain the idea that Carlos Brown was genuinely crazy. It does nothing to restore the credibility of the system that let him walk loose. But it is at least a personal defense. The
Now
liberal
do every
system of
Somali.
accountability is, however, far more fundamentally broken than that. And you might not think that's possible. How could anything get worse? Last year, in Austria, a migrant man was convicted of facilitating and participating in...
Oh my god, I can't believe this got brought up. Oh my god. I haven't seen this video from Arch, but this will make you want to pull your hair out. Luckily,
it's disgusting.
This is disgusting.
And I will say this:
I can't believe this. Oh my god.
The modern system that favors some people over others, they are creating that kind of issues, and that modern system proves to fail because that person didn't belong in a free Western society. I'm sorry, folks, but if you think you can just do that to a kid, you don't belong in the West. You belong either in a cage or
not a cage. No.
Or back in your country.
What's it called? Vlad Tepes had the right idea.
It's fascinating. Anyway, let's play more.
The 17-man gang rape of a 12-year-old girl.
And that happened.
His defense in court was, and I quote,
in the UK,
I plead partially guilty. I thought if she was 12...
You can't be partially guilty. You are or you're not. And in this case, you are clearly guilty.
Yeah, it's like being pregnant. You either are or you're not.
And I was 15. It was allowed. He also released a video on his TikTok where he also wrote, quote, she gangbanged 15 guys, posts videos, do you want videos, ha, 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 ha.
Wood chipper.
He further defended his actions by stating that she had cheated on him.
That's why the thing, if I show him...
I tell you,
with,
not to shock you or to make you uncomfortable, but so you can better appreciate what I'm about to tell you.
And cock it right
the
now.
Titanic insanity of his conviction, as the judge sentenced him to 15 months probation.
No.
And then they want life in prison for someone that speaks out against the government.
There's worse. There was a case in Spain. And I know Arch talked about it.
Oh no! Don't bring that up. Don't bring it up. Don't bring it up, damn it! Don't bring it up.
No, I won't. It's
I know
worse.
what you're talking about. Don't bring it up. I will start punching things. Let's just keep going with this.
And a 670 pounds fine. The story, believe it or not, if you will, actually gets worse. But I think I have made my point without needing to expose you to anything more for now. As the point very clearly made, I believe, is that we in the West do not have a justice system anymore. At least not in any meaningful way.
In Canada, that's worse, folks.
It's a lot worse than it appears.
How did you know he was Somali?
When the crime is simply too much to be ignored, simply too difficult to brush under the carpet and excuse, which still does happen, at least sometimes, small mercies and all that, what does our media do? Our societal representatives, the people with the microphones, what do they do? What message do they broadcast to the rest of us? They make a series about a young white boy killing girls.
Actually, that's the thing I say. This show, I want both of you to
Frodo and
watch
Sam
it.
got off easy in this respect.
Fuck it.
I only heard traumatizing thing about it.
Keep going.
The humiliation, however, does not end there. The countryside itself is under threat, too.
That's an
with the
ugly-ass
wanton
building.
destruction of the landscape and the tearing down of old hobbit houses and monuments, replacing them with deathly pale bricked buildings, complete with sad little narrow windows barely illuminated from within. And near Bag End, the party tree is torn down and uprooted in an act of simple, vicious vandalism. The old mill, too, once water-powered and used to grind the grain from the fields, is now
Pollutes the
belching
land,
out dark smoke on account of its upgrades. But with all the grain hauled off anyways to be sold by the bully boys, there is no grain to feed the mill. The ugly thing just sits there purely to further scar and destroy the landscape whilst polluting the river. This too has its parallels, from the tearing down of statues and cultural monuments to the deliberate destruction of power grids via Germany's abandonment of nuclear energy. And as the requirement, the need for energy did not drop, of course, this led to a dire need to find new sources, leading in turn to enormous digging projects tearing up the landscape, villages, and old cultural buildings. Not for the actually necessary purpose of powering the nation. It was already powered by nuclear power plants, but seemingly only as an act of malicious destruction. And there too is another final similarity. It is revealed that the shadowy character behind all of this destruction, all of this desecration, a person called Sharky, is none other than Sauron, the disgraced White Wizard. And why is he doing this? Why did he flee all the way to the Shire? Why did he escape his confinement? All for the simple acts of wanton cruelty that he is now carrying out?
Because he
Simple,
knew he would be able to get
petty
away with it.
malice.
So evil gets away, and that's the message.
Actually, he did it because he had his weapon shattered by Gandalf.
Gandalf, yeah.
And then when he fled Isildur, it basically, I mean, it's a story. It's more crueler fate.
No, but it really comes down to he thought that if he would go to the Shire, he could subjugate them. And he would be the ruler because he thought they were weak. That's the reason he went there. He could have just gone north and ruled over all
Carney
of
is
the
this
woods,
guy.
stuff like
He
that.
came to
It
Canada
would have been
because
fine.
he thought Canadians were weak.
But but that's the entire. I think that's the entire point of the scouring of the Shire was when the hobbits got like there was just like the British when the axe got put to their neck, they went fuck off.
You know,
you want to kill me? You got to kill all of us, and we'll fuck you up.
And
Let's go.
And then there's a part there's also a part to the death of Saruman, and as well as the other as
in the movies.
As
Are you
Sauron.
talking about in the movies?
No, it's more in the novels because after it's like after like one of the Maiar they die, they were rejected by they were blown away from Valinor.
Interesting. So let's do more of that.
That's the other thing that I won't even go.
We can't get into it. We can't get
He
into it.
states so openly and unashamedly. He did this expressly to get his revenge on the hobbits for no other reason than that he disliked them in particular, that he disliked the look of them and their innocence. It seems so simple that it can't possibly be true. Why would anyone ever be so cruel for such a petty reason? But therein lies another lesson. We must be willing to accept it for what it is. There are, in fact, things and forces in this world that are just plainly evil, motivated by hatred and spite. How does one even begin to deal with something like this? Excellent question. And it is actually another one that the book asks too. Sam, Pippin, and Merry all argue immediately that they need to liberate the Shire. They must fight. Indeed, the fight is inevitable, they say, and they must be ready to kill if necessary. They are eager for it, threatening violence on multiple occasions already. But Frodo, the ring-bearer, is hesitant. He argues again and again that whilst action must be taken, violence is not the only answer. And whilst he too agrees to face the ruffians with weapons, he spends almost all of this time arguing yet again for restraint. He never draws his sword, even when Sauron stabs him in the end. The dagger shatters harmlessly on Frodo's mithril vest, and as the other hobbits furiously bear Sauron to the ground and make as if to kill him, Frodo stops them, declaring that he had taken no harm, and that Sauron had to be respected for the man he once was, and let go. There is a chilling parallel there in how many of us often argue for the old ways, the old traditions of tolerance, dialogue, of caring for one another and to be actually charitable towards one opposition, and the inherent value we place in many institutions, even when they, like the court system for example, repeatedly and demonstrably fail to uphold those once proud and honourable traditions. Now, in the scouring of the Shire, it is Grima Wormtongue who kills Sauron shortly thereafter, having been exposed to one too many barbed taunts from the old wizard. It all makes me think that Frodo is me. Frodo is a lot of us who have spent the last decade arguing from points of principle. We must be better than the enemy, more moral, more magnanimous, more consistent to our principles, our ideals, and our belief, and eager, therefore, to return to a better time. I still believe that, and whilst I have been dragged kicking and screaming by the left year by year now to a more and more strident position, I still believe we can win by being better than them.
I think we can win by being more honorable, and how to do it? Well, prove there's another way without being violent, and we will win that. But that's very interesting, and I guess there's like another 5 minutes left, but I don't know how relevant the rest of it is. So
it's mostly the same thing. I'm guessing Arch is very succinct, but at the same time he doesn't. He front loads everything.
well, I guess it's kind of pointless to go over the rest. But again, to be honorable is to prove there's another way, and I think we can still look back, learn from the past, and not all of the past is bad. But if we keep going the way we are, the future is bad for sure.
Well, no, it's all about, if you think the past is bad, then you would obviously think that the future is gonna be bad, and you're just gonna be a doomer. Like, the past created what we have right now. Even though bad things happen, and objectively what we think of as bad things made where we are today. They made where we are today. It's okay that those things happen. We can't change them. We can't go back in time. We can't go kill Hitler. We can't go kill Genghis Khan. Those things happen. Let's just deal with what we have right now and try to find happiness with what we have. That is the ultimate goal, is find happiness.
I don't think you can have nostalgia. I think he is about nostalgia because Arch is very much like
He lives in fucking Norway.
he doesn't understand. Like, there's a thing, I've even said this to you, and I think half his audience yells at him when he says Batman and Superman, the animated series, are the gold standards, and he hates the Caped Crusader. It's like you don't understand the differences, but you have a perception of the culture. But here's the thing: it's kept Arch versus like when you look at V or you look at Sargon with Lotus Eaters. He still is hopeful. He is not black pilled.
Yeah.
And there's a thing about fighting it. Everyone thinks Arch is a Nazi, but a lot of us have been very fair for so many years, but we're losing our civility. Arch is fed about stick.
Try to make Arch smile once.
I gotta be honest. Someone did that. Someone tried to do that with him making a black Viking.
Yeah, exactly. even Amal, and like even girls trying to make him smile. He's just a doomer, and
he's become a doomer.
I don't hate Arch. I just think
the black Viking thing.
You
don't get it. It's funny.
A doomer attitude, and it is not positive for going forward in the world. And because he's so insulated from everything else, because he's out on his farm. Nobody's messing with him. He doesn't have to deal with all this shit. That's fine with him. But you gotta balance what he's saying with where he is and all the shit that is going on.
Now the only reason
still love Arch.
I want to say the only reason I need to find the exact image because I had to ask in the VTM Discord. He got so pissed when he saw the Black Viking. He literally said
the woman Viking King. Or did you just make out like
anyway, guys? I guess that's the outro now. What do you have going on your end
let's get out of here.
Okay, I will have after this in an hour or so. I got to get with Miss Sparkles. I'm going to attempt tonight to go over.
You're a simp for Miss Sparkles?
I've always worked with her.
Why am I not surprised?
But I have a thing. I'm going to go over the White House, the Correspondence Center shooting, and going to go over the manifesto and some other stuff. And Sorters, my Greek friend is displaced at the moment. So she'll accompany me, and it's going to be tonight. And I do have Diablo 4 again. And we have toys to review tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's called Chudbor.
What about you, Doberman? What do you have going on?
Weed whacking in my garden, and then I'm going to mow my lawn, and then I'm going to take the dog for a walk.
Amazing.
And then as soon as I get back, hopefully, Tiamat and Sparkles will be streaming.
You're welcome to come on because I'm going to go.
I would love that because
the manifesto.
I love talking with Jen more than you would ever know. She's one of my favorite people.
Amazing. Yeah. Well, in my end of the internet, tomorrow we review The Boys, Season 5, Episode 3, 4, and 5 with the Dragon at 8 p.m. Eastern Time.
I'm going to have you... Do you have a Twitter account so I can send you that video of...
Yeah.
What's called,
I will send it to you on Discord. I don't use often Twitter.
Okay.
It's more like... I use it to communicate with other people that don't have Discord. That's really my only use of Twitter, but I will send it to you. Outside of that, tomorrow after the Boys reviews, I will be playing more Splinter Cell, the original game, because it's a classic. I have nostalgia. I like old games. Outside of that, Monday, probably another Splinter Cell stream if I don't finish the game tomorrow. Tuesday, Loki Season 1 and Season 2.
Oh God! Oh, are we going to go over that? Yeah.
Tuesday. That's Tuesday.
I can't wait for us to talk about that.
Tuesday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time.
Please.
So, I will remind you. So 5 p.m. Eastern Time Tuesday, and Wednesday, I don't quite know if I will be streaming. We will see how it goes. Thursday, next Thursday, basically, James Bond again, and that will be a
Don't
Quantum
we?
of Solace in
Don't we
Skyfall.
have no? Because there's 2 more episodes of Daredevil, so I guess you're gonna wait till after.
I will wait until Punisher drops. We covered the last two
Oh,
Daredevil with Punisher.
I don't want to cover that. Okay, and see, the boys is gonna have what? We got 2 more episodes, anyways.
3.
3.
That ends at
Yeah,
the end
that's
of
gonna
May.
be a hard thing to wrap up. But like,
So like the next Daredevil stream will be like on the week of the 12th, because there's the Punisher special in the week of the 12th.
I have no faith in that. I really don't.
I don't, but I want to see it, and I feel like it's the perfect mashup, Daredevil and Punisher. Anyway, that's what's going on in the immediate, in the recent, and on the gaming channel. There's the 7th part of the Resident Evil Requiem first playthrough I did. That's dropping tomorrow on the gaming channel. Anyway, with this, thank you guys.
There,
I
sent
had
it to you
a
on
blast.
Discord.
And our next reaction stream will most likely be Saturday the 9th, late night. That's our usual day usually. So yeah, that's the idea. Or Friday, I don't quite know. So either it will be Friday the 8th or Saturday the 9th. We will look into it. We will talk about it. With this, thank you guys. And we are out. Have a great night, everyone.